It's something like the way we used to do it back in the days. We just like grab the record and do a little like.
It sounds and looks as though you're about to ruin that record. I mean, are you really ruining it? Or, you hear scratching a record. Oh, I've ruined my record, I've scratched it.
Jazzy J, my man, it was the waiting for.
We couldn't go to the concerts and the Madison Square Gardens and all of that. Ticket prices were kind of outrageous. I wanted to be that guy that brought all of those groups that they couldn't afford to go see live to them. I wanted to make sure that the people in my neighborhood didn't miss out on any music just because they couldn't afford the ticket to go see the band of their favorite.
Well, rap as we know it today started from a whole cultural movement. Not too many people know about that, but it was a cultural movement of the hip hop era. Started like around the mid 70s.
It wasn't called hip hop when we first started. It was like we didn't know what we were doing. We just knew we wanted to rebel against what was happening on the radio. And that led us down this road of taking the beats and the grooves and extending them and doing other things with it. And this iconic movement that we call hip hop today.
The credo Zulu Nation's peace, unity, love, and having fun. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of sums up what we're all about. Zulu Nation came out of the necessity of us stopping the violence on each other.
Jazzy J was an early member of the Universal Zulu Nation as one of Bambaata's proteges. Beginning as a Zulu King dancer in the early 70s, Jay later became a Universal Zulu Nation DJ.
Are you the same Jazzy J that was on 98.7 Kid?
Yes. Right.
I like the way you was cutting the old records.
Jazzy J got started in the early 70s as a DJ on New York's 98.7 Kiss FM.
98.7 Kiss FM for the mixes of Jazzy J and Africa Bambaataa.
He was also a prominent DJ in New York's 1980s club scene, playing at the Roxy, the Ritz, and Danceteria. Danceteria is where he first met Rick Rubin.
I was playing this club called Danceteria, and Rick was a freak because he used to go to school at NYU, which was like a few blocks away from there. And then one night he got the nerve to work us up to come and introduce himself. We kind of like became friends, started hanging out.
He was really picking Jazzy J's brain for musical, hey, what did you guys use on the Planet Rock records? So Jazzy J really introduced him into that world of hip hop.
First record I ever made, the first rap record I ever made was by Kilo Rock and Jazzy J.
DJ Jazzy J is the one DJing on there, and he's got like a wall of sound type of scratch that he puts down on that record.
The first office of Def Jam Records was 5 University Place, and the first distribution network was the trunk of my 1979 Chevy Caprice Classic.
He's on LL Cool J's radio album. If you look at a record called Cold Chillin' in the Spot, Jazzy J is on that.
Def Jam started out as a company in my dorm room. We started about a year ago. We made good records.
The word Def was kind of like, when somebody's like, yo, that's Def, you look at them like, dude, nah, we don't do that. We don't say that no more. So Def Jam, that was Rick. He wanted to call it Def Jam, and me, I would have never even called it Def Jam.
Jam means record. Def is short for definitive. Definitely the best records you could buy today.
I wasn't really concerned with that. I was just concerned with, like, you didn't need an excuse to get me in the studio or get me on the turntables. Anything that had to do with the involvement of music, I was there front and center, just where my energy was driven,
After his departure from Def Jam Recordings, Jay continued his musical career by starting his own recording studio.
I started Jazzy J Recording Studio, and that spawned groups like the DITC posse with Showbiz and AG, Diamond D, Lord Finesse, Big Punisher, Fat Joe, Big L, so these are all like my students.
He recorded all these guys. So at just about every era, Jazzy J played a very important part.
I've always considered myself to be the kind of producer that not just produces artists and produce songs, but I produce producers and actually unlock their own potential.